I never thought family dinners could feel like loading a chamber, but that night in Aunt Rita's overstuffed craftsman in suburban Detroit, every clink of silverware was a click. My brother Jake, with his salesman grin and that perpetual tan from golfing in Florida, leaned back in his chair like he owned the damn room. Hell, he probably thought he did. And then he dropped the bomb on my girl, my sweet Ellie, right there over the mashed potatoes. Hey, kiddo, you ever wonder why your mom's side of the family tree looks like it got hit by a chainsaw? Must be all that free spirit DNA she passed down. Keeps things interesting, huh? Laughter exploded around the table like buckshot. Aunt Rita choking on her wine. Uncle Hank slapping his knee so hard his beer sloshed. Ellie, my 15-year-old with her braces glinting under the chandelier, and that hoodie pulled low over her eyes, shrank into her seat, her cheeks burning redder than the cranberry sauce. I felt it then, that old familiar snap in my chest, the one I'd taped over for 20 years, telling myself blood was thicker than the lies we'd all swallowed. But as Jake's eyes met mine, twinkling with that fake-ass innocence, I knew the chamber was full, and I was pulling the trigger. It wasn't always like this slow poison seeping through our veins like cheap bourbon. Growing up in the Rust Belt shadow of Flint, Michigan, Jake and I were the O'Connells, two kids clawing for scraps in a house that smelled of motor oil and regret. Dad worked the line at the auto plant, coming home with hands blacker than his mood, and Mom patched us together with thrift store clothes and dreams of something better. Jake was the charmer, the one who could talk his way out of a beating or into extra pie at school. Me? I was the fixer, the one who covered his tracks when he'd sneak smokes from the corner store or borrow Dad's truck for joyrides that ended in ditches. By 18, Jake had parlayed that silver tongue into a scholarship at Michigan State. Business major, future kingpin. I stayed local, waitressing at Dino's Diner to put myself through community college for nursing. That's when the first crack showed. It was a humid July night in '04, the kind where the air sticks to your skin like guilt. Jake called me from a payphone outside some frat party, voice slurring like he'd mainlined the keg. Lila sis, I fucked up. Big time. There's this girl, Sarah, from accounting. We were wasted, and shit, the truck's totaled. Dad's gonna kill me. I drove out there in my beat-up Civic, heart hammering like a V8. The scene was straight out of a bad country song. Jake's, no, Dad's, F-150 wrapped around a telephone pole on the edge of campus, headlights shattered like broken promises. Sarah slumped in the passenger seat, blood trickling from her temple, not moving. Jake pacing, wild-eyed, reeking of Bud Light and panic. She grabbed the wheel. Lila, swear to God, it was her fault. I can't lose everything now. Not the scholarship, not the future. I should have let him rot. Called the cops, watched them cuff the golden boy and drag him to county. But family, right? That invisible noose we all wear. I bundled Sarah into my car. Miracle of miracles, she groaned, alive but concussed, and drove her to the ER myself. Told the docs she'd been in a fender bender with a friend, no booze involved. Jake? He slipped away like smoke, back to his dorm by dawn, acing his finals like nothing happened. The real gut punch came a week later. Dad's truck? Totaled, insurance sniffing around for fraud. Jake, in his infinite wisdom, confessed to borrowing it for a date, implying some innocent spin-out. But the cops dug deeper, found the empty bottles in the ditch. Vehicular manslaughter charges loomed like thunderheads. That's when Jake turned on me, eyes pleading over the kitchen table while Mom fried eggs to drown out the tension. Lila, you're the steady one. Nurses don't go down easy. Say it was you driving. Sarah backs you up. She owes you. I'll pay you back, swear. Make something of myself. Take care of us all. I did it. Signed the plea deal for reckless endangerment. 6 months in Wayne County Jail. Probation that killed my nursing dreams before they hatched. Jake? He graduated top of his class, landed a gig at Ford Sales Division, climbed the ladder to Regional VP by 30. And Sarah? She vanished after the hospital, a ghost with a cracked skull and a payout from Jake's apology fund. I got out, pieced together a life as a home health aide, scraping by in a one-bedroom in Warren with peeling wallpaper and regrets for wallpaper. But the real secret, the one that festered like an untreated wound, was Ellie. See, before the crash, Jake and Sarah had been tangled up for months. Frat hookups turning serious, or so the rumors went. When I visited Sarah in the hospital, her eyes glassy from the morphine, she whispered it to me. Tell him. The baby's his. I can't do this alone. Jake denied it flat out, called her a liar chasing a payout. You believe that junkie over me? He'd hissed, and I, fool that I was, let it slide. Covered for him again. Ellie came 9 months later, a squalling bundle with Jake's blue eyes and my stubborn chin. I claimed her as mine from a fling, let the family whispers swirl, Lila the wild one, knocked up young. Jake sent checks now and then, anonymous envelopes with just enough to buy diapers, but never a visit, never a dad. He married Claire in '08, popped out 2 perfect kids, trips to Disney, soccer leagues, the American dream gift wrapped. Me? I raised Ellie on night shifts and ramen, telling her stories of a father who was a hero away at war, because the truth would have shattered her more than any lie. Fast forward to November 2025, and here we were, crammed into Aunt Rita's dining room for what she called reconciliation turkey. Dad gone 5 years from the cancer that ate him slow, Mom in assisted living with her crosswords and dementia. The family's fractured, cousins in Cleveland, Hank retired on a pension that barely covers his Vikings tickets. But Rita insisted, her voice quivering over the phone. Lila, honey, life's too short. Jake's flying in from Orlando. Bring Ellie. Let's heal. Heal. What a crock. Jake arrived with Claire and the twins, all sun-kissed and iPhone scrolling, bearing bottles of Napa Valley Red like peace offerings. Hugs were exchanged, backslaps that landed too hard, small talk about gas prices and the Lions' pathetic season. Ellie, my quiet storm, stuck to the corners, sketching in her notebook, dragons with wings like freedom. She's got that artist soul, braces off soon, dreaming of RSD but settling for community college because tuition's a bitch. Dinner kicked off fine. Grace set over the good china, turkey carved with ceremony. Jake dominated, of course. Tales of closing deals in Miami, how the market's rigged, but you gotta play smart. Laughter flowed easy, wine loosening tongues. Then Ellie excused herself to the kitchen for water, and Jake, ever the opportunist, leaned in with that shark smile. So, Lila, how's the aid gig? Still wiping asses for minimum? Bet Ellie's excited. Maybe she'll follow in your footsteps. Keep the family tradition of blue-collar grit alive. Snickers rippled. I bit my tongue, forked a green bean. But he wasn't done. Ellie returned, glass in hand, and Jake zeroed in like a heat-seeking missile. Ellie Bear passed the rolls. Thanks. You know, you remind me of your mom back in the day, always so. Independent. Hell, if I'd had half her guts, I might have ended up in the clink too. What's your big plan, kid? Art school? Or are you gonna chase boys and end up with a surprise like she did? The table detonated. Aunt Rita's cackle led the charge, Hank booming. Oh, Jake, you dog. Claire tittered behind her napkin, the twins giggling into their phones. Ellie froze, water sloshing over the rim, her face a mass cracking at the edges. Uncle Jake, that's not, she started, voice small. Not what? The truth. Jake winked, oblivious or uncaring. Lighten up, squirt. Families for ribbing. Your mom's tough. Took her lumps and kept swinging. Right, sis? I watched her crumple, that hoodie no shield against the barbs. 20 years of his shadows on my back, and now this, poisoning my girl, the one pure thing I'd clawed from the wreckage. The laughter died slow, awkward coughs replacing it, but the damage was done. Ellie bolted, napkin fluttering like a white flag, up the stairs to the guest room. I stood then, slow, the chair legs groaning in protest. All eyes on me, expectant, Lila the punchline, ready to laugh it off again. Jake raised his glass, mock toast. To family, can't live with him, can't bury him without a permit. My voice cut the air like a scalpel. Funny you mention burying things, Jake. Because I've been doing it for you since that night in East Lansing. Sarah's blood on the dash? Your fault. The baby you denied? Yours. And Ellie? She's not my surprise, brother. She's your daughter. Your flesh and blood, the one you mocked like yesterday's trash. Silence crashed down, heavier than the turkey platter. Forks hovered. Claire's mouth gaped. Wine glass tilting perilously. Aunt Rita whispered, Jesus, Lila, like I'd cursed the host. Jake's face. Oh, that was the money shot. Color drained, leaving him pale as overcooked fowl, eyes darting like a cornered rat. The room spun into a vacuum, all the air sucked out by my words hanging there, fat and final. Jake's chair scraped back an inch, then froze, his knuckles whitening on the tablecloth. What the hell are you on about, Lila? That's ancient history. Your screw up, not mine. But his voice cracked on the edges, that salesman's polish flaking off like cheap chrome. Claire found her tongue first, shrill as a car alarm. Jake? Is this true? Ellie? Our niece. The twins exchanged glances, phones forgotten, their perfect bubble punctured. Uncle Hank cleared his throat, ever the peacemaker. Kids, maybe we cool it on the drama. Turkey's getting cold. But I wasn't cooling anything. Not tonight. I leaned forward, palms flat on the linen, feeling the pulse of every heartbeat in the room. Ancient history? Try buried alive. Remember Sarah, Jake? The girl you left bleeding in Dad's truck because you were too shit-faced to drive straight? I confessed for you. 6 months in a cell that smelled like piss and despair, all while you waltzed to your diploma. And when she told me about the baby, you called her a gold digger, wrote checks to shut her up, but never once looked back. Aunt Rita crossed herself, murmuring about poor Sarah, the girl who'd faded into family lore as Lila's wild phase sidekick. Mom had never bought it fully, her eyes sharpening on me during visits, but dementia had softened the questions to mumbles. Now, in this frozen tableau, the truth clawed free, ugly, and unvarnished. Jake surged up, face mottled red, pointing a finger like a loaded accusation. You lying bitch. I covered for you plenty. Loans when you were broke, this damn dinner you begged for. Ellie, if she's mine, why'd you hoard her like some dirty secret? Afraid I'd claim her and show you how it's done right. His flip was masterful, that cunning twist he wielded like a switchblade. Victim 1 second, righteous the next. Claire clutched his arm, torn, her eyes flicking to the stairs where Ellie's sobs leaked through the floorboards. Jake, God, we could have helped. Adopted her, even. Why would you? Because Lila's always been the martyr, he barked, pacing now, a caged wolf in loafers. She took the rap to play saint, guilt me into bankrolling her mess. Sarah was unstable, booze, pills, the works. Baby? Probably yours from that loser bartender you dated. I pitied you, sis. That's all. Pity. The word landed like a slap, echoing the years I'd swallowed his scraps, telling myself it was love. Ellie burst down then. Hoodie ask you. Tears carving tracks through her mascara. Stop. Just. Stop. She wheeled on Jake, voice breaking but fierce. If you're my dad, why do you always send those cards with no name? Why treat me like the family joke? The twins gasped. Madison, the older, whispering, No way, Ellie. And suddenly the table fractured, sides forming in the wreckage. Hank tried again. Let's table this, talk private. But Rita, bless her meddling heart, shook her head. No, Hank. Secrets like this? They rot from the inside. Lila, honey, is it true? I nodded, throat tight. DNA don't lie. I had it tested 5 years back, when the checks stopped coming. 99% match. But I kept quiet for her. I jerked my chin at Ellie, who met my eyes, a silent pact forged in the fire. Figured one parent who showed up was better than 2 who ran. Jake laughed then, a hollow bark that chilled the room. Tested? Without telling me? That's entrapment. Lila, lawyer up, because I'm suing for custody. Think I'll let my blood rot in this shithole while you poison her against me? He turned to Claire, softening his tone like butter on corn. Babe, it's a scam. She's jealous. Always has been. Remember the inheritance fight after Dad? Lila got half the house, and I had to buy her out. Inheritance. Another knife twist. Dadswell had split the old bungalow 50-50, but Jake convinced me to sell my share cheap, promising to fix the roof for Mom. Instead, he flipped it for triple, banked the profit, left her in a drafty rental till the nursing home. I'd signed. Eyes on Ellie's braces fund, not the fine print. Claire wavered, her hand slipping from his. But the mocking, Jake, that was cruel. If she's ours, the ours hung, a lifeline or a noose, depending on the pull. Upstairs, Ellie had retreated again, but not before grabbing her sketchbook, pages filled with faces, fractured families, and charcoal smudges. I followed, leaving the dining room to its simmering pot. She curled on the guest bed, knees to chest, the room smelling of lavender sachets and old lace. Mom, was it bad? Telling them. I sat beside her, arm around shoulders that trembled less now. Bad's what he did to us. This is air. Finally breathing. We talked low, piecing her world back. Yes, the eyes were his, but the fire? All hers. No, he wouldn't snatch her. At 15, Quartz favored the nest she'd feathered. But the what-ifs loomed, dark clouds over the lake. Downstairs, the fallout brewed. Jake's voice rose, then fell. Phone out, dialing his attorney cousin in Toledo. Yeah, Marty, emergency. Slander, maybe defamation. Get the ball rolling. Claire's murmurs mixed with Rita's consolations, Hank pouring bourbon like it was holy water. By the time I descended, factions had hardened. Team Jake, decrying my ambush as vengeful theater. The neutrals, Hank and Rita, urging therapy or a priest. He cornered me in the butler's pantry, door ajar, his breath hot with Merlot. You think this ends it? I'll bury you in court. Prove you're unfit. That jail stint, the dead-end job. Ellie's coming with me, and you'll get visitation if you're lucky. His eyes gleamed, that mummer's mask slipping to reveal the boy who'd wrecked lives for a thrill. I met his gaze, steady. Bury me? You've been doing that since '04. But here's the kicker, little brother. Sarah didn't just vanish. She's been writing me letters, emails. Says you paid her off, but not before she recorded you admitting the crash. It was me behind the wheel, Lila covered. Time-stamped, notarized. And the baby's paternity? She has copies too. Push me, and it all floods the net. Your LinkedIn, your board meetings, your golden parachute. Bluff? Half. Sarah had reached out last year, sober in Seattle, kids of her own, seeking closure. The recording? Real, from a boozy confession post-crash. I'd held it like an ace, praying I'd never play. But Jake's face crumpled, the bluster draining to something raw. Fear, maybe regret. Why now? After all this time? Because you broke her, I whispered. My girl. Our girl. And I'm done letting you rewrite the story. He deflated against the shelves, cans rattling. I was scared, Lila. Young, stupid. Thought if I owned it, it'd own me forever. A flip again, penitent now, the charmer reborn. Let me make it right. Co-parenting classes, back child support. For Ellie. I wanted to believe it, that sliver of the brother I'd idolized once. But trust? That bridge burned long ago. Too late for easy fixes. She decides now. The night unraveled from there. Claire bundling the twins into the rental car, her goodbye to me stiff but eyes soft. Call me. We should talk. Jake lingered on the porch, watching taillights fade down the cul-de-sac, then turned, hand out. Truce. I shook it, bones aching from the grip. Truce. But the truth stays out. No more shadows. He nodded, drove off into the sodium-lit sprawl, radio blasting some classic rock anthem about highways and heartbreak. Inside, Rita hugged me fierce, whispering, "Proud of you, girl." Took balls. Hank clapped my shoulder. Ellie emerged with a tentative smile, her sketchbook open to a new page, a phoenix rising from ash. We left at midnight, Ellie's shotgun, the city lights blurring past like forgiven sins. Think he'll change, Mom? Dunno, kid. People like him. They flip till the script runs out. But in her eyes, his eyes, I saw a possibility. A rewrite, maybe, on our terms. Dawn broke, gray over eye, 75, the kind of Michigan winter light that promises snow but delivers sleet. Ellie dozed against the window, earbuds in, sketching dreams while I gripped the wheel, replaying the night like a bad loop. Jake's truce hand felt like sandpaper on my soul. Trust erodes, but grudges? They build dams. My phone buzzed on the dash. Claire. Coffee. Neutral ground. Just us girls. We met at Big B in Troy, the strip mall haven of overpriced lattes and laptop loaners. Claire slid into the booth. No makeup, hair in a messy bun. Vulnerable, the step-forward shell cracked. Lila, I confronted him on the drive. He admitted it. All of it. Her voice wobbled, stirring her foam. The crash, the denial. Said he was protecting his future. For us, eventually. But Ellie? God, he knew. Those checks were guilt money. I nodded, sipping black, the bitterness fitting. He flips, Claire. Always has. Victim, villain, savior. Pick a lane, he swerves. She leaned in, eyes searching. I want to help. Therapy, maybe family counseling. The kids. They're reeling. Madison asked if Ellie's their half-sister. Jake's talking custody consults, but I shut that down. She's yours. Ours, if you'll let. Ours. The word dangled, tempting and treacherous. Ellie lit up at the idea last night. Cousins turning sisters, Disney trips retrofitted. But Jake's shadow loomed, that mountebank promising amends while plotting angles. We'll see, I said. Slow. She leads. Weeks blurred into a tense détente. Jake texted daily, memes first, then apologies scripted like sales pitches. Missed my girl growing up. Coffee on me. Ellie softened, curious, agreeing to a neutral lunch at Anyamos. I tagged along, peripheral, watching him charm. Questions about her art, laughs over shared freckles. You're talented, kid. Like your aunt. Mom. Slip of the tongue, or ploy. She beamed, but later confessed, he's trying too hard. Like he's selling a car. Christmas loomed, Rita's annual bash now a minefield. Invites went out, RSVPs trickling. Hank yes, Mom maybe if the home allowed. Jake pushed for a full family, Claire echoing softer. I countered with boundaries, no booze, no barbs. Ellie wanted it, closure, she called it, sketching invitation cards with olive branches. The eve, snow finally falling thick, we pulled up to Rita's, Ellie in a new sweater, her one splurge from Jake's first amends check. Inside, the tree twinkled artificial cheer, Mom dozing in the armchair, crosswords scattered. Hank manned the eggnog, non-alcoholic, per-packed, Rita fussing pies. Then the door. Jake, Claire, twins in tow, arms laden with gifts that screamed overcompensation. iPad for Ellie, art supplies stacked like a bribe. Toasts were made, careful, to new beginnings, to truths unveiled. Ellie unwrapped hers first, gasping at the professional sketch pads. Uncle, Dad, this is amazing. He knelt, eyes misty, crocodile or genuine, hugging her awkward. Deserve it, Bean. All of it. But the flip came mid-dinner, inevitable as the Lions fumble. Mom stirred, lucid for once, her gaze sharpening on Jake. You. The truck. I knew. Dementia's fog lifted rare, but brutal. Lila took it for you. My girl in that cage. The room iced. Jake paled, fork midway. Mom, water under. No. She jabbed a frail finger. You killed Sarah's light. And the baby, your blood, denied. Whispers from the twins, Claire's hand on Jake's knee, steadying or restraining. He cracked then, voice rising. She doesn't know shit. I confessed to you years ago, begged forgiveness. Lila hoarded the secret to control me. Blackmail material for her sob stories. Flip. Now I was the spider, him the fly. That recording? Coerced, after I'd had a few. She's twisting it to steal my family. Claire recoiled. Jake, stop. This is truth. He roared, standing, chair toppling. Lila's the vengeful one. Jail made her bitter. Ellie stays with me. I'll prove you're unfit, sis. Probation violations, unstable home. Boom, custody mine. Ellie shot up, face ashen. You're lying. Mom's the only stable thing I have. She fled to the porch, snow swirling, sobs cutting the night. I followed, coatless, the cold biting like vindication. You never changed, do you? Push till it breaks, then blame the shards. He stormed out after, coat flapping. This isn't over. Lawyers filing tomorrow, emergency hearing. Ellie's O'Connell blood. She belongs with winners, not losers. Claire trailed, pleading. Jake, please. Think of the kids, all of them. But he peeled out, tires spinning slush, leaving us in the wideout. The hearing hit 2 weeks later, Oakland County Courthouse, a sterile buzz of suits and stale coffee. Jake's attorney, slick as his brother-in-law Marty, painted me as the villain. Exhibit A, my rap sheet from '04. B, erratic job history. C, anonymous tips, his, no doubt, about neglect. Ellie testified, voice steady. Mom raised me alone. He's a stranger who hurts with words. But the twist gutted us. Sarah appeared, unannounced, subpoenaed by Jake's side. Sober, composed in a blazer, she took the stand. The crash? Jake's fault, yes. But the baby? Eyes on Ellie, soft. I lied, Lila. Back then, scared and strung out. It was the bartenders, your fling. Jake paid because he felt guilty, not paternity. Lies. Or truth unearthed. My world tilted. DNA said otherwise, mine fudged? No, the clinic confirmed, 99. But Sarah's testimony sowed doubt, Jake's eyes gleaming triumph. See? Coerced lies, all of it. The judge, a no-nonsense type with a tiger's mug, deliberated. Paternity's clear, Mr. O'Connell, you're the father. But custody? Shared, supervised. Ms. O'Connell's proven stability trumps your inconsistencies. Jake deflated, but smirked, shared mint access, his foot in the door. Outside, Snow melting to slop. Ellie hugged me fierce. Doesn't matter. You're my mom. Sarah approached, apologetic. I panicked on the stand. Jake threatened old debts. The recording's real, though. Use it if you need. The real twist hit months later, spring thawing the rust. Jake, demoted after personal issues, leaked Sarah's recording, anonymously emailed to HR. He flipped again. Calls begging forgiveness. Therapy enrolled. Real change this time. Ellie visited, tentative bonds forming, picnics, art classes. Claire divorced him quiet, custody split fair. Me? I got my nursing license reinstated, night school paid by back support. But the divide lingers. Readers of our saga, Rita spilled to the family chat, viral in whispers, split. Was I the hero exposing rot, or the saboteur toppling a flawed man? Jake a monster, or a boy trapped in his own cons? Ending? Not neat. Ellie thrives, dual worlds orbiting. Jake shows up, flawed but trying. Last Father's Day, he gifted her wings, flight lessons, skybound freedom. I watch from ground, proud, wary. Revenge? It circles back, feathers and all. Sometimes the happiest tragedies leave you debating the sky.